Hello, and welcome to another installment of my Alice Cooper reviews. Today, we'll be going to hell. In Alice Cooper's 1976 album, Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. And we're going to go ahead and dive right into this because I've already tried this 3 times, and again, I can't get it under 10 minutes, so we're going to try it again. So, jumping right in, the first song on this album is, of course, entitled Go to Hell. And it's basically the idea that, Alice Cooper is shown all of his sins, about being morally depriving towards the children, about being a villain. There's even a funny part in there about how he'd gift wrap a leper and send him to, his Aunt Jane, that kind of thing, And so, for all these crimes against humanity, you can go to hell. That's basically what the song's about, and it's a very rock type song. So from here on in, the one thing, that really kind of surprises me about this album, everybody knows that Alice Cooper hates disco. He doesn't really like disco that much because it was a fad. It came, it went, and, it's not really that good. I'm sorry to any disco fan that's out there, but honestly, I can't get behind it. Listening to more than 2 or 3 of those songs kind of drives me nuts. But, so Alice Cooper's version of hell is disco. There's 2 or 3 songs on this album that really have a disco tone to them. Kind of get that whole idea that you want to shake your hips and, move your finger up and down all disco-like. And the first of these is, You Gotta Dance, which is the next song on it. And You Gotta Dance is very disco. It's basically the idea that once Alice Cooper gets to hell, everybody's punishment is to disco. And disco forever and ever and ever without ever stopping. And it's basically what the song is, about moving and grooving all day, all night long, and, that being their punishment. So then we move on to I'm the Coolest, which is basically the point where Alice Cooper meets the devil. And the devil at this point, again, this is very kind of a disco thing. It's like the devil really likes disco, so he makes everybody disco. Which is really, of course, a punishment for Alice Cooper. But, the devil's like, I am the coolest person, I am the coolest being on the face of the earth, underneath and above, I am just the coolest ever. I'm the smoothest, I am the greatest, end of story. And so it's like the devil's introduction to Alice Cooper, who he meets in this song. He has a very deep voice, which Alice Cooper did himself, and I still don't understand how. It's a very deep, slow voice. But anyway, going ahead and moving on. Then we have Didn't We Meet, which of course, right after he meets the devil, he recognizes the devil, or recognizes something about the devil. He's like, I know those eyes, I know this, I know you from somewhere. And so, it's kind of funny because, this little ramble on back and forth about, I know you. And at first, Alice Cooper doesn't believe that it's the devil. Like, he honestly doesn't believe that the devil, that this is the devil, that this is hell, that all of this is real. So he's like, yeah, right. He's like, they told me you were the owner of this place, and I just can't believe it. And then towards the end of the song, he finally does end up believing it. So now he kind of realizes he's in hell, which of course is an easy transition to the one and only hit off of this album, which is I Never Cry. I Never Cry is a very sad, slow song. It's kind of a realization that he does never cry, and that, it's kind of a problem. It's very much different from, the 4 songs before this, and it's kind of, an emotional breakdown. Which is very sad. The reason that this was a hit, I believe, is because it could stand on its own. Whereas any other song on this album, you kind of need an explanation. Oh, it's a concept album. Oh, okay, I get it now. This song could stand on its own and be, hey, this is a really good song. And then you find out it's on a concept album, which it fits the concept as well. Because, after figuring out all this stuff that it really is hell, you'd have a breakdown. And so, I mean, it's, it fits well, but it stands well by itself as well. And it was a hit. Next is Give the Kid a Break. And this is, basically where Alice Cooper doesn't really understand why he's down here, so he doesn't really believe that he needs to be down here. And even the ghouls and the goblins and the demons and stuff like that are like, dude, give the kid a break. He's, give him a break. And the devil's like, no, you're here for a reason. Like, you're seriously here for a reason. And there's like a little banter, like towards the end of the song, there's a little banter between Alice Cooper and the devil, which is really funny. And I urge you guys to check out any of these songs, or, to buy the album. But I highly urge it, but I'll save that for later. So then we're going to go to my favorite song of the album, absolute favorite song of the album, is Guilty. And Guilty is almost anthemic in the idea that we're all guilty. Alice Cooper basically says in this song that he's a dirt-talking, beer-drinking, woman-chasing minister's son. Like, he basically spells it out just like that in the song. And it's like, this whole idea is like, well, if that's what you call guilty, then heck, I'm guilty. And the way that the tempo is and the way that the lyrics go, it feels very anthemic, where you just want to sing along. It's like, yeah, you know what, I'm guilty too. And that's why it's my favorite song. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite. So then we're going to go to Wake Me Gently, which at this point, you know, being in hell, I can imagine some sort of hoping and wishing to God that this is all just a dream. And that's kind of what this song is about. You know, he hopes that it's all just a dream, and that sooner or later he's going to be woken up, and he just hopes that he's woken up gently. You know, woken up back to reality very gently. So that's basically what that song's about. Very slow, which compared to the previous song, Guilty, very big change. So there's a lot of tempo changes in this, quite randomly. And then we have Wish You Were Here, which is another disco kind of song, and it can be taken a few different ways, which is Alice Cooper's really good at. He's one of those people who will give you a few lines, give you a few pictures, and let you make your own story of it. And for me, this part of, you know, Wish You Were Here always kind of means to me, like, I'm having a hell of a time, I wish you were here, which is actually the chorus, which, you know, to me means, you know, I wish you could come and suffer with me. That's what I always get from it anyway. A lot of people have told me, a few family members and stuff have told me that, like, no, it's like, if he was there, that, you know, if that person was there, then in hell would be less painful, you know, and it's like, I can kind of see that from the verses and stuff, because, you know, the verses are like, you know, I wish I could come home, but I spend all my money on postcards and stuff like that, so I can kind of see that kind of thing, but to me it always seems like, I wish you would suffer with me. And so then we're going to go to I'm Always Chasing Rainbows, which is kind of like the transition song from hell out back, you know, to the real world. It's this whole idea that, you know, it's an idea that his whole life is just a, you know, big giant goose chase, and his, you know, his dreams have been denied. Now, like I said, this is like the Alice Cooper persona, not, you know, actually Alice Cooper, because at this point Alice Cooper's reached a lot of fame. But, you know, the persona feels very beaten down at this point. And so, he's talking about always chasing his rainbows, chasing, you know, his dreams. And he wonders if the world's to blame or if it's just him. And so, and this is kind of like the transition song, because the next song, Going Home, is all about him waking up at his home. And he's so glad to be there. And in the first part of the song, you really get this feeling like he's going to change his ways and, you know, basically do a Scrooge. You know, he's going to be everything that he wasn't. He's going to forget everything that, you know, he thought was important and take up new values. But then about halfway through the song, he kind of ditches that and says, you know what? I do what I do because I love it. Now I've been to hell, been there, done that, bring on the next, you know, major thing. So I'm going to keep being my bad self. And there you go. That's the whole album right there. I mean, and it's very, very tight as a, you know, as a concept album. Where I said, you know, Welcome My Nightmare had a few flaws in it. This one is very tight, very much tighter. Of course, there was never a stage show for this because he was touring Welcome My Nightmare at the same time. He did that tour for 2.5 years, so he never actually got a chance to tour Goes to Hell. But I would very much recommend this to any Alice Cooper fan, because at his essence, Alice Cooper really is concept albums, because it is there where he gets to be a villain. Like in his normal rock, he can be a bad guy, but when he stretches out a concept about going to hell, or being a serial killer, or, you know, being in a nightmare, that's when you actually get the feeling that he is a villain of rock and roll. So, and all the concept albums are really good. This one especially, so I definitely say get it. And thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and catch me next time when I talk about Lace and Whiskey. Thanks very much. Bye.